So now we're going to look at the process, what's called completing the square, where we're going to be asked to write the equation as the square of a binomial. You could be asked to write the expression as the square of a binomial. I wrote this one using an equation. This is especially going to be helpful for us if we want to write something in vertex form, which you've recently studied. But if you look over here at this example, this is basically what we're going to be asked to do is we're going to write something and write this equation that uses the square of a binomial. So in this case, as we looked at before, if you take 10 divided by 2 and square it, you get 25. And that's the same as y equals the quantity of x plus 5 squared. Now, not every equation does it work out to where when you take the middle term, divide the coefficient by 2 and square it, do you get to have that number already of 25 in this case. In this case, it doesn't work. If you have y equals x squared plus 10x plus 17, you take the coefficient 10 divided by 2 and square it, it doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how we can rearrange some of these things in order to get it to where we have a binomial that's squared. Now there's a lot of ways and different teachers will approach this differently. I want to show you the way that makes the most sense to me. And in this case I've got a 1x squared, and that's going to be good for now. We're going to look at what happens later if you don't have a coefficient of 1. But I'm going to write x squared plus 10x, and then I'm going to give myself parentheses in this little space, and then write plus 17. So I haven't changed the problem at all. I've just given myself a little space. Now this is where it's going to come into play. Okay, can you find out that c value that we looked at before? So if I wanted to write this as a binomial squared, I take that middle coefficient divided by 2 and square it. So 10x divided by 2 squared is plus 25. Now what that allows me to do is then write y equals x plus, okay, 10 divided by 2 is 5, so I use that 5, squared. Now, I can't just pull 25 out of nowhere. So, I added 25 inside this parentheses. I have to offset that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write minus 25 outside the parentheses. So I added 25 inside, and I made up for that by subtracting 25 on the outside. So I haven't changed my equation at all here. All I've done is made it so I can write it with this binomial squared. So what you have to do is now I have plus 17 minus 25. I now need to account for that, and I'm going to go ahead and combine those. Positive 17 minus 25 is minus 8. So now I've taken this equation and written it as an equation that has a binomial squared. And this is going to be very helpful for solving for it using the square root method. It's now written in vertex form. I know that the vertex is -5, -8. And it just provides a way of rewriting it in a way that might make things easier for us to get certain information. It's the exact same equation. If you plugged in any value for x, you'd get the same value for y for both of these. Basically, completing the square allows us to rewrite it having a binomial that's squared.